Hi everybody, hope you're doing good. I know I'm late with this month's word. This month's word was literally, it had a process within me, and it was a bit of a challenge for me, and I was like procrastinating it, and I thought I just let me skip this month, but I know God has been so loving and He's so stubborn than me. So, yeah, I thought, okay, let me share it even though I'm late. Okay, so I have themed my title for this month is Walk by Faith and Not by Sight. So, faith is something like it's a fight between where you are and where you're supposed to go. So it's literally something which you can't see, but you gotta believe on the promises or on what God has told over your life. So last time we saw the family of Ruth and Boaz. This time we are gonna see the story of Abraham and Sarah. Okay, so let's go and check it out. Okay, so in life of Abraham, if we see Abraham, he had a call. So we know his backdrop. He's from a place where idols were manufactured and distributed. It was like that. His father was the who was the creator of all of that, and that was his backdrop. But amongst that, Abraham was searching for a true living God. And so, in fact, I've heard in fact saying that one day when his father came back, he saw all the idols broken, or like 2 3 were broken, and he asked Abraham, sorry, it's Abraham. So he asked him what happened. He said that there was a fight between the gods, like which god is the bigger god, and as such, they fought, and that's how it got broken. So that's when Terra says, the father says, "What are you bluffing? I know there's nothing in this because I made it from my own hands, and how would that fight?" So that's when Abraham says, as you know that it's not the true living God, why would you sell that to people and ask them to worship it? So that was one of it, and later he starts searching, saying, is sun the god? Is when he thought if the sun was the god, but it is when it becomes evening, it goes off. Then next comes the stars, and then it comes the moon and all of that. So he was literally in search of a true living God, and that's when he encounters God, and he starts believing on God. And God says, there was a call, and He says, come out of your country where you were living with your family and all of that. And he comes out, and so I think when he came, he was like 75 years, so his wife would have been 65 years. So yeah, they come out with his nephew Lot. So this was the backdrop of the story, and let's see how it proceeds. So Abraham and Sarah were like childless. That was the only issue in their life, and they've been waiting for years from God, and God promises them. God promises them in Genesis 15:5-7, where it says, "Look up at the skies and count the stars. If indeed you can count them." Then he said to him, "So shall your offspring be." Abraham believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteous. So we can see that here only Abraham believed in it. And then according to the world standards, we could say that when a person is in like 75 years, or a woman in 65, uh, they thought, okay, bearing a child now is a bit difficult, but then they keep moving. They believe in God and they keep moving. And then but in the middle, Sarah thinks, Sarah, you know out of her own strength, thinks that let me help God and to fulfill this promise, and she devises the plan. And Abraham also agrees with the plan, and he goes for it. But then that was not the promised generation, though they were blessed. But then what God, later they had to hurt each other because of their unbelief and doubts, and because of lot of challenges they thought, and lot of pain that they had to go through, and all of that was there. So that reminds me, is like as if God is asking for our help to fulfill, as if He's not almighty to do it. And that's sometimes even in our life, with our tiny little brain, we make so much of things outrunning, superseding God's timing and plan, and then we realize, oh, it's better we could just wait. So yeah, maybe towards the end I'll share the reflections of what we can do in a practical situation. And so they learned in a very hard way to trust God back. And when they again believed on God, in Genesis 17:16, God makes a covenant with them again, and changes their name. So from Abram, God gives a new name as Abraham, and He says you'll be a father of many nations. And God changes Sarai's name to Sarah, and says you'll be mother of many nations. And God promised them again. When they were little, when he was Abraham was 100 years, and Sarah was 90 years. God promises next year at this time you will have a child. And Abraham actually bows down, but he laughs inside because of the unbelief. According to world standards, they are literally owned out, and you can't give birth to a child when they are like in 100. And literally Sarah also has no ability to give birth, so it's almost dead. Her womb is dead. So sometimes our laughter and our unbelief can delay our promise. And we can see again, for confirmation, 3 visitors, the 3 men of God also comes into their tent, and again they give a promise saying that this time next year you will have a son, and you shall name it Isaac, and all of that. Now this time Sarah listens to it, and she also laughs. And that shows now she's thinking like, I'm at this age, I need this happiness. So that's kind of a mindset she was in. But that's a very beautiful verse where the 3 men says that, Genesis 18:14, is anything too hard for the Lord? I will return to you at the appointed time next year, and Sarah will have a son. So always during our waiting period, we shouldn't get weary, but we should keep preparing towards the promise. I know it's very discouraging, it can be whatnot, but don't give up the process, because at the end of the tunnel there's always some beautiful endings. As God is a promise keeper, he kept his promise at the appointed time that He said. And she beautifully says in Genesis 21:2, God kept the promise at the appointed time. And 21:6 he says, God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears me about this will laugh. So laugh with me. So I understand that her breakthrough, Sarah's breakthrough, was a breakthrough to many as well. Listening to her story of how God intervened and broke through with her situation, with her issue, with a miracle. And same way, others who heard it also got their breakthroughs as well. So you know, so when what I was trying to say is Sarah's laughter of unbelief, uh, you know, that's where she named Isaac. Isaac means again laughter. Yeah, so Sarah laughed out of unbelief, but God gave her the promise child, and she named him Isaac, which meant laughter. So yeah, even in our life, when things don't happen in the appointed, before the appointed time, never give up, because when it comes, it will give you real joy and laughter. So yeah, that's what I want to say. But also don't forget, from Abraham's story, I can still remember he loved that promise. Today I don't know what's your promise. Is it your dream to be fulfilled, or a very meaningful relationship, or which you desire, or it can be career, it can be financial aspect, it can be a lot of I think peace of mind, or in a health state, or anything it can be. But trust me, God will, when God intervenes, the situation is, he makes all the impossible situation into possible thing for his glory alone. So yeah, but when he gives it, when he gives what you loved the most, he also sometimes tests whether you are able to give that back to him. Just like how Abraham God told Abraham to offer his son, the promised child, and the one he loves the most, he told to put it on the altar. So God can test us as well in many situations, whether we are keeping him more than that things which we love the most, or we have idolized it. So yeah, he does it. And but Abraham knows, when I go put this on the altar, God will yeah, I know his promise was to make in and through him many generations. So God will definitely make a provision, because he's seen things in the past, how God has intervened and done many things. So same way Abraham had that faith, and that's why he was counted righteous as well. So when he goes and keeps, he was, I don't know how he could really do that. His own son, he was the only one he had the hope that was given after so many long years, unimaginably. He goes and takes, and even the best part is the son never knew that he's going to be put for slaughter. And he takes him. The wife never knew, but he just obediently said, "Okay, Father, if you have given it to me, I'll give it back to you." And that's where he goes up the mountain, and he prepares all the thing to be sacrificed. That's when even the son asked, "Father, we did bring everything, but we forgot to bring the lamp for the offering and everything." He said, he only beautifully said, God will provide it. So he knew so much. He knew. I think that's the communion that he had with God, that shows from the story of Abraham. And when he was about to go put Isaac on the altar, and he was going to go kill him with his knife, and when it was so close, the angel of God said, "Stop it. I know your faith has been so great." And he said, and God had prepared that ram, that small ram in that bush, which was caught there. And God says, "Go bring that and slaughter, remove your son from that place." That's the loving God we see. I know He gives us, He tells us this is the one, or this is the promise, and all of that. But sometimes He tests us as well. So we should be ready to give it back when God asks. But He's a loving God. He knows. He knows how to work things out as well. How He had prepared the ram to be offered than the instead of the promise, which is the Isaac. So yeah, this reminds me of the verse Hebrew 11:11. By faith, Sarah herself received power to conceive, even when she was past the age, since she considered Him faithful who had promised. So she believed on the God that gave her the promise to happen. So yeah, same way we should be able to have that faith. Just give me a minute. Let me share a few things which I have jotted down from this. See, always delays are not denials. Delays cost for two things. Okay, one, God is preparing you for the blessing, or the blessing is getting prepared for you. So that's the, and it seems to look like a delay, but I think when it comes to fulfillment, it speaks for the wait. And yeah, so I just want to show as an illustration. I don't think I have something to show now. Okay, if there's a very beautiful saying in Tamil. It's a proverb. It says "Jadi keta moodi." So this is how I would say it's you. 1 minute. I'm not able to open it. Okay, just see if there are two boxes, and if you think, if for this bottle, if I'm gonna put this cap, I know it will cover, but will it be fully closed? No, right? Same way, when God gives a promise or a blessing in your life, He would prepare you for that, and the blessing also will be prepared, so that it together it works and fulfills the purpose. So I just want to show a small illustration, but I forgot to be prepared for the items. So yeah, but yeah, this is what I just want to show as an illustration. And Jadiketa Muri means, that's what I meant for a bottle. If for a bottle, if the cap is of a different cap, if I close with this, it's gonna close, but it's not gonna be, still it's not tight, or it's gonna open up, or the content is gonna fall and all of that. But if I have its right lid, it's gonna be closed, and it'll be used for the purpose. So that's what I meant as that. And secondly is sometimes God's plan versus my plan. So when we try to outrun our plan, or as if in the name of helping God, God remains silent until we come to a place where we surrender and give it back. Otherwise, when we try to control the situation, He remains silent. So God expects us to remain silent so that He can take control of the situation and work out things for His glory. And sometimes our tiny brains cannot comprehend His ways. I think that's why God had to shut Zechariah's mouth when God gave him the promise of again a promised child. He promises a child in a very late age, and where again they had the childbearing age is gone according to the world standards, but God never works according to the world standards. He works, that's why it's called an upside down kingdom. So yeah, and else he could have done some really, like Zechariah, if probably why God didn't, if he would have not shut his mouth out of his unbelief, he would have told, or some costly mistakes could have happened, like Sarah, who devises her own plan for the promise out of haste, and both start blaming each other for both of their mistakes. But taking God's control and Hagar incidents can also happen in our life, to be prematurely doing stuff ahead of God's appointed time. Then Sarah, and again I could say from Sarah's unbelief, where she laughs, I can understand that she was able to accept that I'm going to be a barren woman. For her, the no was so easy, but then when you say, yeah, you're giving her a promise that yes, she's gonna get married, she's gonna give birth to a child, it was out of her unbelief, she's got really wary. And so yeah, so that's what I was trying to say, is like, whatever is your breakthrough, when you're waiting, that wariness, she was don't give up. And when God actually keeps up his promise by giving them a promised child through a miracle according to his timeline and not according to the world standard, she named the son Isaac, which means laughter. So same laughter should continue in your life, in whichever area you wanted your breakthrough. And God had to wait for Sarah to surrender her life, and to trust God's will over her life. Rather, she kind of had to think in a good way, but then for God, but then the way God had to orchestrate things, she had to put that one step of faith. So that's what was expected from Sarah. And also, like in our life, when God says put that one step of faith, so that God can orchestrate. So it's always a free will choice of us, whether we are doing it or we are acting according to it. Otherwise, sometimes we can make a very costly mistake, like what Sarah did, and out of haste, and we could have done, and we would have missed out on our promise. And though God is God who gives us a second chance to it, but there's always it's a say, right? When you do one mistake, or when you take one wrong turn, you gotta make 3 different right steps to get back to order, so you wouldn't have to waste all of those time, right? So it's always better to go straight there by listening to God. So while you're waiting, walk by faith and not by sight. I don't know today in which area of your life you're facing this unbelief. Sit in God's presence. You will receive a solution to your problem. The promise will come to pass at the appointed time, and it can even be now. Because according to standards of God, now is like 0 to 5 seconds. So always have that faith. When God gives you a promise, it will happen at the appointed time. And always God does miracles in such a way that he only gets the glory. Even he brings the dead things of your life to life. So he's a life-giving God. So never give up or never say, okay, I think this is how I have to accept my life to be. Remember, like how when walk by faith and not by sight reminds me of Peter, how he had to walk on the waves of the uh, storm, where against the gravitational law, and again to all the forces of the earth, he walked on water, which was very supernatural. But only thing was his eyes were on Jesus. But if he thought that I'm actually walking on water, which is against the law of this nature, when he saw the waves and the storm, rather focusing on God, he fumbled and he fell, and God had to pull him back. So during your waiting season of your breakthrough, it will you just need to believe, trust God, and focus on him rather focusing on your storms of life. See, it's a God's master plan for your life. Keep that one step of faith and rest God will orchestrate. So God takes the impossible things when you think, this is never gonna happen, oh my God, it's out of our strength. But when you rely on his strength, he will do everything beautiful, and it will be a blessing to many people. So yeah, always remember, one revelation of God can change your whole belief system about everything in life. Okay guys, so yeah, that's what I would always tell. Focus on God during the weary season and work towards what God is telling you, rather focusing on how things are going to happen, how whatever I'm seeing is not even matching the promise. If we say like that, we will fall down, like how we're going to sink, like how Peter did. So that's exactly what I want to say. And I just wanna, this reminds me of this song, and I just want to sing this. My Jesus, my Savior, Lord, there is none like you. All of my days I want to praise the wonders of your mighty love. My comfort, my shelter, tower of refuge and strength. Let every breath, all that I am, never cease to worship you. Shout to the Lord, all the earth, let us sing. Power and majesty, praise to the King. Mountains bow down and the seas will roar at the sound of your name. I sing for joy at the work of your hands. Forever I love you, forever I'll stand. Nothing compares to the promise I have in you. My Jesus, my Savior, Lord, there is none like you. All of my days I want to praise the wonders of your mighty love. My comfort, my shelter, tower of refuge and strength. Let every breath, all that I am, never cease to worship you. Shout to the Lord, all the earth, let us sing. Power and majesty, praise to the King. Mountains bow down and the seas will roar at the sound of your name. I sing for joy at the work of your hands. Forever I love you, forever I'll stand. Nothing compares to the promise I have in you. Nothing compares to the promise I have in you. Yes, Father, nothing compares to the promises that we have in your name, Father. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for the promises that you have given in our life, Father. Help us to hold on and trust on all that you have been doing over our life. Help us to keep up the faith, believing that you will work everything out for your glory. This is in my precious name. Amen. See ya, guys. See ya next month with another video to encourage you. Don't forget, walk by faith and not by sight.